Good morning. This is Elise Bowie at Elise Bowie Family Law Group. And I am here today for our Facebook Live to talk to you about spousal maintenance. I must tell you, though, that I just had a mild heart attack before this. I walked in this room to sit down and do this, and the door was wide open. And we have two indoor cats. So, of course, I'm like, oh my gosh, where are the cats? That's, only about the 25th time I've thought we've lost the cats. And so we often have to go on these random journeys looking for them. So, but they both were fine. And so that's good because Ethan would really never forgive Doug or I if we lost one of his cats. So, okay, today, though, we are here to talk to you about spousal maintenance. I mean, what is it? Will you get it? Do you have to pay it? Oh my gosh, how long are you going to have to pay it? How long are you going to get it? How much is it going to be? All those things. So, spousal maintenance or alimony, as sometimes people call it, here in Washington, it's an equitable principle. It is not like in the RCWs or the statutes where, yes, if you're married for X amount of time, you will get X amount of dollars. It's not like that. So it's very different than child support, which is set out very clearly. We have worksheets, you can fill them out. You kind of know how much you're going to need to pay. I mean, there might be a few nuances here and there, but it's more straightforward. Spousal maintenance, on the other hand, like I said, is equitable. So the court is going to look at two things. They're going to look at, first, does someone have a need for money? And second, does someone have an ability to pay? And then the second issue is going to be, what was the length of the marriage? And so when you look at the first, the need versus ability to pay, I mean, when people fill out a financial declaration, when you get down to the bottom, I mean, if you have a surplus or if you have a deficit, that's kind of going to determine your need and ability to pay. Now, obviously, some people are going to put in some crazy things like their grocery budget is $6,000, they eat filet mignon every night. Obviously, that's not necessarily going to fly. But also, people try to hide their ability to pay. Again, these things will get vetted in the process. And so we can pretty much get to, the need versus ability to pay. And then the length of the marriage obviously is pretty factually based. I mean, there's sometimes discussions around when did the parties separate, if they've been living apart for a long time. I mean, a lot of factors can go into that. But again, those are things we can figure out. And then the court really looks to those two things, the need and ability to pay and the length of the marriage. And it again is equitable. So the court can make a decision based on many factors. But when we look at the length of the marriage, I mean, we think of marriages that are shorter, like 0 to 5 years. We would call that a short-term marriage. Generally, spousal maintenance is not provided in that time period, or if it is, it's for a very limited duration and usually for a very limited purpose, like to kind of put the couple back to where they were before the marriage. A midterm marriage is about 5 or 6 to 25 years. Generally, spousal maintenance could be available for that type of marriage. And generally, we would consider that rehabilitative maintenance. So we're kind of trying to get the person who has the financial need either re-educated or back into the workforce so that they can start, supporting themselves and their family without spousal maintenance. So the duration of that spousal maintenance can vary greatly, and there is no set in stone number. But I mean, generally, I would say here in Washington, we think of spousal maintenance as 1 year of maintenance for every 3 to 5-ish years of marriage. So if you're married 10 years, I mean, you could get 2 to 3 years of maintenance. Again, it is going to depend on very specific facts in your case. And so you can't, hold any of this as a set in stone thing. Again, because it's an equitable principle, you could have factors like maybe you have a spouse who gave up an extremely lucrative career in order to stay home, take care of the kids. That was a mutual decision. The children are now involved in a million different things. Maybe you have a special needs child that requires a lot more care. So maybe that spouse who gave up that lucrative career might be getting spousal maintenance longer or at a higher amount for them to be able to get back to where they need to go. Because maybe that involves caretaking for a child that's extra. Maybe that involves educating a caretaker. I mean, it can be a variety of things. So back to the duration of the marriage. Then if you're in a marriage that is 25 years or beyond, usually we say beyond 25 years, that is a marriage that can result in permanent spousal maintenance. So for the life of both parties, the court is kind of looking to keep them equitably and equally financially set for the rest of their lives. Again, many factors can go into that. The age of the parties at the time this long-term marriage ended, their prospective abilities to earn money, whether certain assets have been put in place, whether in the property distribution there is enough assets and enough resources for the parties. All kinds of things, again, can come into play. And also, when you're talking about spousal maintenance, you need to talk about things like whether it's modifiable or not. So, if in the future, if you're the person paying spousal maintenance and you lose your job, are you still going to be on the hook for that spousal maintenance, or is it modifiable? And these are all things you want to talk about, think about, and you want to understand. I would say the main thing to understand is it's messy and it's a gray area. And without getting a full appreciation of the facts of your case, you can't know exactly what is reasonable and what is not reasonable. And so I think it is very important that people talk to an attorney about this issue, because a lot of people who come in for consults, and when I'm meeting with them, it is clear they have some very strange idea on what the rules are for spousal maintenance, whether it's guaranteed or not, whether it's in the statute or not, and how long it's going to last. I mean, I have heard some really outlandish things. And so I think it is very, very important that if you're in the process or looking at a possible divorce, you're thinking about trying to do it on your own, which I'm a huge proponent of people staying out of court if possible. So you're having those kitchen table discussions about divorce. That is wonderful. Do get some advice, get some understanding about what's reasonable, what you can expect, what you cannot expect, to make sure that your thoughts and your part of that negotiation is based in reality, and you can manage your own expectations so that you can plan for your future successfully. Okay, it was super nice talking to you all today. I hope to hear from you. If you have any questions, you can always put them in the comments, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Okay, thanks a bunch. Enjoy your day.